Does anyone have a question? If not, there's something I've been talking a lot about in the last few days, and I think it's a really good subject. And it brings clearly into perspective what we do in this meditation. Many years ago, I learned a very simple reality that the energy of spirit, the energy of a higher nature, is not an energy of polarity. It's not an energy of conflict. It's not an energy, it's a pure energy that flows out of the cosmos and gives life to everything on the earth. And the problem is not the energy. The problem is, the confusion, the insecurity, the neurosis, the tension, the fear, that builds up inside of people from the time they're very young to the time they're very old. And when that energy enters them, that energy that simply gives them life, it manifests in the world according to the way they are as human beings. So if a person lives with their heart open, with love, with joy, you understand, the energy is going to manifest that way. So a human being is like a point. It's almost like a circuit, a point in a circuit. That when the energy flows, it enters us. It doesn't enter us as positive and negative and good and bad and all of that rigmarole. It just enters us. And we, in our minds and our emotions, our sexuality, we create this internal world, that transforms the energy into what it manifests in our daily life. Now, this is not an easy thing to accept, because if you realize the truth in all of this, you begin to take full responsibility for yourself. You're not going to blame God for the craziness in the world. It really is each and every one of our responsibility to build an inner life that is strong enough to transform the tension, the fear, the insecurity inside into an open chakra system that allows this energy to flow into us and to nurture us really deeply inside. And then the energy will manifest in our life according to the way we are as human beings. If there's rage inside us, it's going to come out as rage. If there's anger inside us, it's going to come out as anger. If there's insecurity, if we're a victim, if we're all of this stuff, neurotic, psychopathic, whatever, the energy will manifest that way. So the miracle of the practice that we do is that you can use the craft of meditation to transform all of the negative aspects of yourself, into chi, into an open heart, into a quiet mind, into sexual energy that gives birth to Kundalini, pathway to God. And then the energy flows through us. It's not being hampered by all of our internal craziness. Now, if a person accepts this kind of, way of living, then they can do something about themselves. Say, okay, I have to fix me. I want to be a child of God. I want to be open. I want to be full of love. I want to be compassionate. I want to be successful in life. I want to, live around people that truly love me. Well, we need to open in that kind of depth inside and transform ourselves so that this energy can flow through us, nurture us in a profound way, and then manifest in life with compassion, with love, with quiet, with simplicity, refinement, success, love. Unconditional love. So, look, it gets back to a simple reality. We are the problem. We are the problem. But being the problem, we can solve the problem by doing the work that we have to do on ourselves to transform that problem into love, into openness, into joy, into a spiritual life. And I think if human beings would accept that and do the inner work, I mean, an awful lot of the nonsense would disappear here. But, I mean, look, that's very idealistic and it's not going to happen. But each and every one of us can make that happen for ourselves. We're not going to make that happen for Vladimir Putin, and the crazies that are doing this stuff in the Ukraine. But we can do it for ourselves. We can go deep enough inside to fix the problems inside ourselves so that we can live our lives full of joy and love. Be happy people. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? It's like a marriage between oneself and higher energy. I will take care of my responsibility here. I will transform me. The human and the divine come together when people start doing this kind of thing.
So that is the way that energy manifests for each of us. That is our karma.
Yes. And it manifests based upon what your inner life is all about. That's how it manifests. If your heart is open, if your mind is quiet, if you're centered inside, if you master the sexual energy where it really is nurturing Kundalini and giving you a connection with God, the energy will manifest that way in the world. It'll manifest with compassion, with love, with understanding, forgiveness, all of these higher terms that we're supposedly taught when we're younger, but they usually go in one ear and out the other. And they go in one ear and out the other because people haven't done what is essential to truly master their inner lives. Yes. And this could be a little intimidating. At the same time, it could be very inspiring because we can do something about it. We truly can fix the one person that we truly can fix, and that's ourselves. And that's karma too. Everything is karma. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Brad.
As a daily practice, how does one recreate the practice and the experience newly?
Well, if you take the practice in depth, if you really open, to a place in yourself where you're truly touching the unknown, you're opening to the source of creative energy. that will generate a newness. It will generate a whole new experience inside yourself. So that's, basically how one does that. You have to take it deep enough inside. You have to go through the things you're well acquainted with, you're comfortable with, you're satisfied with, to a place inside where you're touching on the unknown. And that is the source of all creative energy. Creative energy is exactly that. It creates the new. It refreshes everything inside you. I mean, it's where all the great painters, the musicians, the composers, dancers, that's where they go to get that energy in order to create, the new, and, it doesn't mean they do it with the rest of their lives, because most of them don't. They get away from the easel and they all become crazy. But put them in front, put a Van Gogh in front of a canvas, right to the unknown, to inspiration, to genius that flows through him, and created those amazing paintings that he created. Now, when you practice deep inner work, your deep inner work will take you there. And it'll refresh everything. I mean, this class, how can I talk about the things I talk about, unless my entire inner world is refreshed. And doing this meditation has, made this possible over and over and over and over again. It made it possible for me to write 12 books. It made it possible for me to run a business, to, my daughter was in a meditation this afternoon, it makes all of this stuff possible. And the whole secret in all of this, you got to get past yourself. We have to get past ourselves. So once you have the chi working, once the heart is open, once the mind is quiet, it's what I was talking about earlier, that is a pathway for that spiritual energy to flow through you. That energy brings with it a whole new level of creativity. And I'm all
Thank
for
you.
that. I'm tired of the dull and the boring and the stagnant and the, lethargic and all those words, And what I look for in myself and everyone is tapping that new level of creativity, not being afraid of it, letting it work for you. I've said it 1,000 times, it's like Bach, Bach was dying, right? How many times I've said this, but I think it's great. And all his disciples and his family, they're all mourning and crying. And I said, what are you crying about? I'm just going to where the music comes from. I cannot think of a better way of transcending the fear of the unknown. In every meditation class, we are going to where the music comes from. We're going to the source of all creative energy, the source of life. Does anyone else have a question? Is that clear? I hope that's clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question?
Hey, Stuart. Today is Easter, and I was wondering if you could speak about Christ consciousness.
I gave a whole talk about that this afternoon, and you can go to my No, they didn't tape it because Ellie wasn't in the meditation. And I gave a talk about, was it yesterday in the class? I think I talked about Easter and Passover and all that stuff,
Thursday.
When was it?
Thursday's class.
So go there, okay? And you will hear the entire talk I gave about that. And I did. It was a very kind of wonderful talk. It opened me up very deeply, brought together a lot of different religions and Passover and Easter and Christ consciousness and all of that stuff, So go, and if you don't get it from there, then you can ask me the question again, okay? And I'll go over it. Thursday, it's on, where is it, on YouTube?
Yes, it's on YouTube. It's not on Facebook yet.
It's on YouTube. That's why you miss classes and you miss so much. I'm telling you, people skip a class. Oh, well, there's going to be a class tomorrow. And wow, the stuff that comes out, people miss. It's a shame. But what can I do? I can't walk around with a whip and say, come to class or I'll whip you. But anyway, there are 400 of these talks on YouTube, Facebook. You could learn a lot. I've learned a lot giving them. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask?
I just wanted to say that talk from Thursday helped me immensely. I can't even say how much that helped me. So on resurrection, thank you.
Michael, you have a testimonial, so you can
watch it tonight.
I didn't mean it for that, but thank you, Stuart.
Oh, it's all right. I need a little few testimonials, Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, there will be meditation tomorrow evening. And I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. As I said this afternoon, I'm not a religious person. I don't really go with all the dogma and all the stuff that's involved in religion. But when it comes to Passover and, Easter, these holidays are so deeply embedded in what I have learned in this meditation. They're different names, different words, but the meanings go to the same place. It's all about getting free, getting free of oneself, basically. It's all about resurrecting oneself, becoming a child of God. So I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. And God bless you all. And thank you for being here. And there'll be a class tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thank you.